Method: the core focus on process and action. Surveillance as a modern set. In contemporary context, and resonating with the song's themes, surveillance emerges as a significant concept. It functions as a potent, often invisible form of control that creates psychological cells. The constant observation, data collection, and policing inherent in surveillance restrict freedom, induce self censorship, and reinforce existing societal biases, thereby contributing to the pervasive confinement the song critiques. Connecting Goodie Mob's cell therapy and Simone Brown's dark matters through surveillance. Both Goodie Mob's song Cell Therapy and Simone Brown's academic work Dark Matters, Invisibility, Race, and the Electronic Panopticon powerfully explore the themes of confinement and oppression, with surveillance serving as a crucial connective tissue between their artistic and analytical perspectives. The pervasive metaphor of cells. This is the foundational concept, representing diverse forms of confinement. Cells are not solely literal prisons, but also encompass systemic societal structures, racial injustices, psychological limitations, and ideological barriers that restrict freedom and potential, particularly within the Black experience. Therapy as liberation and healing. This concept signifies a process of active liberation, psychological and emotional healing, reclaiming personal agency, and achieving self actualization. It's presented as a transformative journey away from confinement. The direct link between the song and Brown's work lies in their shared focus on surveillance as a primary mechanism of confinement and oppression. Genocide and existential erasure. This is a common theme in world history. The song's critique of systemic oppression, particularly concerning the Black male experience, can be interpreted as addressing forces that lead to existential erasure and destruction. This is powerfully captured by the stark implication of the planet without the Black man.
I want out of this hole. I'm in the cell, under attack. No good folks, they in the hood. Got an eye on every move I make. Open your face to info. You ain't know, cause it's kept low. How the new world plan. Reach the planet without the so man. What's your aim?
Sylvia Wynter's No Human Involved, an open letter to my colleagues, is another example of the reality of this recurring theme that is most often found against Black young men. Winter critiques Western modernity's foundational myths and its exclusionary definition of human. She argues that the category of human has been constructed to include only certain groups, often white males, while disqualifying others based on race, gender, and class. Both Cell Therapy and Winter's work offer a sharp critique of dominant societal systems and the way they create hierarchies and impose limitations. Goodie Mob critiques the system that builds cells, while Winter critiques the modern human, which is a classification that disqualifies and subjugates. Economic disadvantage as confinement. The song implies that economic hardship and lack of opportunity are significant cells that trap individuals and communities. Poverty, lack of access to resources, and exploitative labor conditions contribute to systemic disadvantage, limiting potential and well being. The system is seen as perpetuating economic inequality.
In slavery, concentration camps laced with gas pipelines, infernos outdoors like they had back with Adolf Hitler, which living in 1945. Listen to me now, believe me later on in the future. Look at where it said in the Constitution that any event of a war places like Operation Heartbreak Hotel, moments tell until that tight vent seal off this spell. Them say expect no mercy. Fool, you should be my least worries. Got a deal with W2-1099s on marked black helicopters swoop down and try to put missiles in mines.
Systemic injustice and control, inadequacy of formal justice systems, call for systemic dismantling and liberation. The most prominent political claim is that existing societal structures are fundamentally unjust and designed for control. The system is depicted as intentionally creating a cell, or these cells, prisons and oppressive environments that limit freedom, particularly for Black individuals. Reclaiming identity and consciousness. A key cultural claim is the importance of self awareness, mental therapy, and awakening of consciousness. This is presented as essential for resisting oppression and reclaiming agency, emphasizing the power of internal transformation within a cultural context. Art and expression as resistance. As a work of hip hop, the song itself embodies a cultural claim that artistic expression and cultural commentary are vital tools for critique, consciousness raising, and fostering a collective therapy for healing and resistance within the Black community. The actors, Black people, communities, ghettos, Goodie mob. The organizations, the police, white supremacists, institutions, the government, judicial systems, political structure, foundations of society, racism, capitalism, democracy.
The traces of the new world order. Time is getting shorter. If we don't get prepared, people, it's gonna be a slaughter. My mind won't allow me to not be curious. My folk don't understand, so they don't take it serious. But every now and then, I wonder if the gate was put up to keep crime out of keep eye. Who's that peeking in my window? No phone. Look out for the man with the mask and the white pony on my back of pills, staying off my toes, always on my heels. Same plane, soldiers coming in the dark by plane to report the new system by rain. Tag my skin with your computer chip. Run your hand over the scanner to buy your dish now. No more fishing for your fish. Shift the days of the old days, past ways gone, mind blown perception. My name on your select, but I come. Pow!
Goodie Mob's cell therapy is a profound and multi-layered argument that pervasive, systemic, and often invisible forces of oppression, represented by the metaphor of cells, confine individuals and communities, particularly within the Black experience. True liberation and justice requires a conscious process of awakening and self-healing or therapy to reclaim agency and transcend existential threats. The imperative for therapy. In contrast to passive suffering or reliance on inadequate formal systems, the song champions therapy. This therapy is a proactive, transformative process that involves developing consciousness, recognizing the nature of one's confinement, healing psychologically and emotional wounds. It's a call to internal and external liberation. The role of agency and resistance. The thesis empowers individuals and communities by asserting their capacity for awakening and self-healing. It calls for taking agency in one's own liberation, suggesting that while systems create cells, the therapy and awakening are acts of resistance that can dismantle them. In essence, Cell therapy presents a powerful indictment of oppressive societal frameworks and offers a comprehensive, albeit metaphorical, roadmap for personal and collective emancipation through awareness, healing, and active resistance. Cell therapy is profoundly relevant to Black studies because it encapsulates many of the core concerns, analytical frameworks, and lived experiences that form the discipline's foundation. It serves as both a subject of study and a critical voice within the Black intellectual or the Black radical traditions. Cell therapy is the Dem Niggas Ain't Playing Watts Prophets 1971 of their time. Black studies seeks to understand, analyze, and amplify the experiences of people of African descent. Cell therapy directly addresses the pervasive realities of systemic oppression, racial injustice, and the psychological toll of confinement that have historically shaped Black lives in America and beyond. The metaphor of the cell resonates deeply with the historical and ongoing experiences of enslavement, segregation, mass incarceration, and societal marginalization. With 4 verses, Goodie Mob manages to cover many of the topics found in Of Black Studies, written by Joshua Myers, who highlights works and activism of W.E.B. Du Bois, Sylvia Wynter, June Jordan, and others. Artists such as Goodie Mob are the pirates to the W.E.B. Du Bois kings in this field of reforming and transforming the social sciences. The concept of resistance and the pursuit of freedom is a dominant theme in Black studies, tracing back to abolitionist movements, civil rights struggles, and contemporary efforts for social justice. This song offers an artistic articulation of the internal and external battles for self-determination. The assumption is that humans possess an intrinsic desire for liberation, self-actualization, and a state beyond confinement. The call for therapy implies that individuals strive for healing and a better existence. It also assumes that external conditions, societal structures, systemic oppression, and surveillance significantly shape individual behavior, consciousness, and subjective experience. More assumptions are that individuals possess the capacity for internal change, healing, and transformation. It suggests that by confronting cells and undergoing this therapy, one can achieve a liberated state. These assumptions frame the song's message as a diagnosis of a deeply flawed environment and a prescription for individual and collective agency toward healing and freedom. I Must Become a Menace to My Enemies is a powerful account of similar existence and struggle, only in a different time period. Some comparisons that I found are Goodie Mob is striving to go from object to personhood. The concept of therapy in Goodie Mob's song and the idea of becoming a menace both represent a form of resistance that involves internal transformation and a refusal to be solely defined by one's oppressor. It's about reclaiming one's narrative and power. Both Cell Therapy and I Must Become a Menace to My Enemies serve as powerful testaments to the enduring spirit of resistance. This claim is a powerful articulation of restorative and transformative justice principles, particularly relevant to marginalized communities. And my evaluation is that it addresses the deep-seated, often unseen sources of injustice beyond mere legal infractions. By focusing on therapy and awakening, it acknowledges the psychological and social dimensions of oppression, advocating for healing and empowerment.